How much are you selling onions? How much are you buying onions wherever you are? This is an interesting conversation in the onion farming at the moment. Currently, the best price you can get in Kenya at the moment for 1 kilogram of onions is between 30 and 35 Kenyan shillings. The worst price is 15 Kenyan shillings. It can even go to 10, depending on where you are. For 30 to 35, your onions must be of good quality. The right size that the market demands, like a medium size, not the bigger ones, must have dried well and doesn't have burns. That's what will get you between 30 and 35. And the grade 2 can even go to 10 or better 15. Well, is that the best time to be an onion farmer currently for real? Because those are the prices you get at the farm gate. That's the price that a farmer is able to sell from the farm. While currently at Marikiti, the price of 1 kg of Kenyan onions is 50 shillings. We still have onions from Tanzania, and it is 60 shillings per kilo. From the market, from vendors, depends on where you buy the onions. Maybe in other areas, the prices are better, especially the dry regions. Will the onions prices go up? Maybe eventually. But currently, market for onions is so volatile. Now it might be 30 shillings or 35 Kenyan shillings. Next week, might be 50. I remember a month ago, the onions was 50 shillings from the farm. Then it went down. So let's go back a little bit why all this is happening. I remember at the beginning of the year, that's between January and April, the prices of onions went to 150 from the farm and even to 220 at the market. If you had onions during that moment, you are a millionaire. You're reaping so well because if you could sell 1 kg of onions at 100 at that moment, you're good. Even people went ahead to selling the onion leaves. Come on, that's the time I didn't know you can actually consume the bulb onion leaves. But people sold. You could get the tiny, like the onions that are probably 1 month, or rather they still have like maybe around 60 days to maturity being sold in the market, very tiny ones. And people are taking it because there was shortage of onions in the market. Well, you've had the term forces of demand and supply, right? Now, there was a lot of shortage for onions during the first quarter of this year. And what happens? Everyone went to planting onions. Like so, the onions from TZ was in the market in May, June, July, and still there up to now, probably the last bit of it. Now, when there was so high demand of onions, the prices were so good. So what happens? Everyone felt like, this is a very lucrative farm venture to do. They're not really wrong because I usually say plant something that you see on the table every day, and that is onions. Like we use onions, be it the spring onions or the bulb onions, in our dishes more than even tomatoes, right? And everyone went into planting onions. All varieties, we have a lot of varieties in the market. Now, The rains came. Yeah, they've been every rains from last month, probably right now. At least maybe it's still raining in some areas. So there was onset of rains, and the onion farmers had onions that are already mature enough to be harvested. So the onions went on and on. And in some areas, it even flooded. You saw how much damage people went. Anyone who's doing cabbages, tomatoes, onions, and any other farming. Some areas were really affected. And to salvage your crop, what do? You harvest, right? You harvest because you don't want to rot in the field, because onion farming is expensive. It's not cheap. It's very expensive. You salvage the onions so that at least you break even if you're not going to make any profit, because you're like, I better get the money that I invested back other than going at a loss. What happens? Everyone has onions in their farm. So because of onset of rains, everyone harvested their onions because you're scared that they're going to rot, which is fair, because if the rains continue where you are, maybe it floods and everything, you have to remove your onions from the field. Another incident, it means maybe you don't have a place to store, so you have to dispose onions immediately. So all of a sudden, everyone has onions. Everyone has harvested their onions and they want to dispose in the market. So when there's too much supply, the prices will go down. Have you seen the scenario of maize, whereby the prices goes up when there's shortage of maize within the country, but when they harvest the maize, the prices goes down like for real, and it will have time to ever rise again. Now that is it. That is what is happening with onions. There's so much supply and very low demand, because I can easily get onions wherever you want. Like right now, if you have any dishes that you use a lot of onions, time to enjoy. Right now, there's a lot of onions in the market because everyone has onions. So the forces of demand and supply. When there's high supply, or rather when there's surplus of a product in the market, the prices will always go down because everyone is selling. So the prices will always be low. But when the demand is so high and there's no supply, oh well, that's the time you'll enjoy. The prices will go so high. But that time is going to come. Probably from January, the prices of onions will really, really go up, because people, if I did onions for the first time and I feel like it didn't take me well, I may not be really in a position to risk again, right? Maybe you depended on rain fed, and January, Feb, March, it's very dry. So there will be a few people will be doing onions, and the prices of onions still go up. It's not going to go low. Yeah, not sure how much it will get in terms of the best prices, but it will go up eventually. Now, will the prices of onions go up from the best that you can get from 35? Yes, it will. You just need to be patient. And some of the strategies that you need to put in place in the near future, if you're planning to really get into onion farming, I would say have a strategy of staggering. What do I mean by staggering? If you're doing 2 acres of onions, don't plant all onions at a go. Space them. So you can do 1 acre, then do another acre, or do half an acre, 1 acre. That will cushion you in terms of if the first harvest, which will make it, like you don't get the best prices. The other half an acre, you can get not even the best, but a better price than what you sold on half an acre, and the other 1 acre will even give you the best. Because at the end of the day, you are aiming to at least break even, get all the money that you invested back. On in our worst scenario, another thing is have a plan B. What do I mean? Build a storage or a warehouse. So when you harvest your onions and the prices are low, you can store your onions until the market prices are better than at that moment. That means you have to have a very good post-harvest handling, and it starts from the farm. What nutrients do you need to apply to make sure that your onions can survive, can dry well, cannot rot? There's a danger of regeneration, but you have to keep on sun drying them and keep turning them in the, you have to create a very good, let's say, warehouse. You have to ensure that they have a longer shelf life. Let's say you give us yourself a period of maybe 2 months at most, and in that time you try to look for where to sell, try to get better prices. I know there's so many companies that take produce from the farmers and they supply into supermarkets, right? Yeah, so that's one of the things you can do. Just have a storage for it, just in case you don't get the prices at that moment, because you can't leave the onions in the field to wait until the prices becomes better, right? Because you want to plan another season of onions, so that means you need to prepare the land again for another season. That means you have to harvest. So having a storage really be helpful, and then staggering also is going to be very, very important. In that way, you're able to cushion yourself eventually, not only in terms of prices, but as well in terms of rain. So when it rains, you're not looking at harvesting 2 acres of land. No, you're looking at just maybe harvesting half an acre, and that's something you can manage. And I think it's high time we really work on having best post-harvest handling on onions. And when you work on this, I think you can work around how to manage this. And another important point is do your research, do markets. So go to these markets wherever you are. You can check Marie Kitty. I don't know, the markets that are around. You can get a better deal that you can get your onions from the farm and just take to the market. Do it. But it's a very interesting conversation. And how will the beginning of the year be like? I'm not sure, because market is dynamic and agriculture is a very risk venture. But it's one venture that it will always thrive. Yes, there'll be so many challenges along the way, but people will never stop eating, right? The population will keep on increasing eventually. So I hope the prices of onions will get better. And I hope there'll come a time whereby agricultural insurance will be a thing, and market conditions will be favorable, because I know that's the pain every farmer is going through. You put everything, all the resources, and you do everything right. You have the best crop, but the prices in the market are not favorable. Sometimes it discourages, but don't give up. There'll come some days that you'll be smiling. You fail today, tomorrow you'll be up again. So don't give up. You'll hack this game. And there'll be low moments and high moments. So keep going. Just try to work everything around And side time as well, we do forecasting. I think it will help. But let's keep on feeding the world, because without farmers, I don't know what we'll be eating. I don't know what we'll be surviving with. So we depend on you farmers, and keep doing the good job. I hope the market prices will be favorable. Bye.